Welcome to Who Owns Manchester, brought to you by the Sky Blues. I got my co-host here, Matt Rattari, episode 3. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm ready to. We got some good topics today. I'm ready to jump right
Well,
into it.
I'm ready to talk about Southgate. I'm ready to
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about it,
get
bro.
there. We'll get there.
I am ready, but let's first talk about Ten Hag's contract extension and also Van Nistelrooy, the Dutch legend, the Dutch master, Dutch legend of Manchester United, obviously, right?
Yeah,
Coming to Manchester United, it looks like.
yeah. I know we kind of touched on it last week. Obviously, Ten Hag, was the choice to stay. They're keeping him in the club, which is something I'm personally happy on, just because I think it keeps some stability in there. So I really like. Not only that, they're going to give him an extension, and it looks like they're bringing in some boost to the coaching staff too, which I don't think is ever a bad thing, really.
No, I mean, listen. Like we talked about last week. I still don't understand the whole concept of giving like to me signing, giving Ten Hag a contract extension to me is safe. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's just how I feel about it. Like they looked at other options. I think Ineos wanted other options. They couldn't get those options, and they're like, okay, let's keep Ten Hag. It seems like that's what most of the fans want.
Hmm.
Let's see that for another year. But why like a contract extension when I'm hearing of 3 more years?
Yeah, that to me is a little also I'm a little confused about that as well. I think 3 years is a long time. It's like in the current market for managers, I think your first contract of 3 years makes sense. I think an extension beyond that when people are kind of mixed is, not necessarily worrying, but I think even I would have preferred just to see another 1 year extension. Just so he's under the guise of he's got time. It's not like they have to worry about it this year. Maybe you even do 2 years so he can just focus on football for 2 years, and then in the last year of that contract you can figure out where you want to go from there. But yeah, I agree. I think 3 years is a bit long. But like I said, I think I think Ineos really wants to change this club around. We're seeing some good additions to the coaching staff. Obviously, Van Nistelrooy I think is going to be
Great addition.
great for players like Garnacho, players like Rash. I mean, thinking of Rashford in particular, like his biggest thing has been consistency. When he's on, he's absolutely incredible. It's times when he's not on. So if we can get a legendary player to kind of help push him towards being on more often than not, I think that'd be great things. And obviously, then you got Højlund up there. The rumor is Xerxes coming in. Good strikers that can potentially learn from a fantastic striker. And then the other rumored addition to the coaching staff being Hake from Go Ahead Eagles, the manager over there. And I'll be honest, I don't know much about the guy, but I saw a clip of him from like halftime in one of his games just absolutely chewing out his players, which I think a lot of these United players could use. Yeah. And I think that's something that Ted Hogg's trying to do. So bringing in someone who can just hand it to him, I'm all for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like for me, like when you look at, and I'm gonna go off track just a little bit, but like when I see what Ralf Rangnick is doing with Austria, I think is amazing. I think a lot of people are giving their credit to Ralf Rangnick because we had this guy who came in, obviously, I believe was a sporting director, but he was a big part of the high press, right?
Yeah,
Klopp has taken his high press tactics from Ralf Rangnick.
Right.
He goes to Manchester United. A lot of people thought things were going in the right direction because he was going to change Manchester United just like he has with other clubs.
Yeah.
A lot of people have learned from him. And then you get this like, okay, this guy is a bum, obviously. But then he goes to Austria, what he's doing for Austria, how he, what
incredible.
he did for the Netherlands is incredible.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it just Ten Hag's problem? And listen, I am the first to say I think Ten Hag is not the right person for what Manchester United is trying to do. That's another subject.
Yeah.
However, I think a big problem for Ten Hag is what he's doing with his management. Who are the people supporting him? And I think these two people coming in, Van Nistelrooy, and the manager from Go Ahead Eagles, is a step in the right direction to help support with the player problems, with the discipline issues, with the organization.
Yeah, I think and you said it. I think there's so many issues. Like even Ragnick came in and he said this club is just a mess all over the place. They need so many things. I think they still need a proper scouting department. I think they still need probably a better medical team. But these things have to happen over time. You even saw Ratcliffe came out a couple days ago and said what they want to do could take 2 to 3 more summers of good transfer windows. So I think if they have someone in place, a good coaching staff, they can build off of one idea, even if that's not the guy to get them across the finish line in the end.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I like, again, I think they should have gone with somebody else. I think there's a lot of managers out there, younger, hungrier. Again, I'm not going to say people are other managers are hungrier than Ten Hag. It's just a style. Like, Manchester United is legendary, right? When you think of the Premier League, you've always used to think about Manchester United, and some people might still, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think his style fits what Manchester United are trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good football. I think, yeah, at times, like when they play Chelsea this year, they outpossessed Chelsea, who at the end of the year, Chelsea was doing phenomenal. But then again, Manchester United goes to the next game and plays a Bournemouth or a Burnley, and then they get, like, it's 50-50.
Right.
So it never made sense to me. I always thought you should bring in a manager that has better structure, better discipline. But there's so many tangibles. There's so many things we don't know. But I think this is a right step for Manchester United. And obviously, I'm trying to be unbiased as possible. I just am a football fan in general.
Right.
Manchester United being better is more competition for Manchester City. And at the end of the day, I want to see better competition. I want to see a great Premier League.
Right. Yeah.
So I think this is in the right step. I love Nistelrooy. It hurts my heart that, another Dutch person is going to Manchester United. I mean, who better to scout than Dutch managers, Dutch coaches, Dutch people in general, because we created the best football in the world.
Yeah.
Even though the Netherlands can't play our own football.
Yeah. And so, all right, we can kind of use this transition to the next topic. We're talking about, the style Ten Hag plays, this new coaching staff coming in. Jim Ratcliffe saying they might need 2 or 3 summers to get things under control. Let's talk transfers. We can talk about both clubs.
Ooh, yes.
Let's get into.
Let's go Man U first. Let's go Man U first.
Yeah, we'll do United first because I think there's less City needs.
Yeah.
To start off, United need a lot, and I think that's part of the reason that Ratcliffe is saying it might take a couple summers still to really get in what they want. However, the things that I'm hearing, the rumors that I'm hearing, I think are like miles ahead of where we've been in the past. We're linked to not just one center back. I mean, it sounds like Jared Braithwaite is the top target. I'm not completely sold on that. I think there's better players out there. But what I do like is United come in, they say, all right, 35 million. Everton says, no, we're looking more for 75. And United comes out and straight up says, we don't have 70 million to pay on one player this summer. So you're either going to need to come down or we're going to move on to other targets. Everton need the money. I think this is smart business. If they can get Braithwaite for around 40, 45, I'm okay with it. Again, not the happiest in the world because I still think you need another center back. Obviously, I know you're going to hate another Dutchman is on the radar, Matthijs de Ligt. I wanted him when he was first leaving Ajax. So like they've got it seems like a couple players on their radar in just the center back position where they're going to, try and work something out, work out some deals for these players. And it seems like already smarter business from a United standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I what I've heard the most out of is that they're heavily interested. They've already put in a bid for it, and Nice has accepted, is going for Todibo. I think he's a phenomenal player. Obviously, you have the connection between Ineos and
which may or may not be a problem.
Right, but they just appealed it to UEFA. Right. I think they're going to have to accept, which links into Manchester City acquiring Savio from Girona.
And also Leipzig and Salzburg. I forget who it was.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's a precedent for it.
Which I agree with that. I agree with Manchester United that it's stupid that they're not allowed to get Todibo from a parent
Nice.
club, basically.
Right.
Yeah, right. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, I think there's some smart business going on there. I think there's also the reports that they are going to. I think a lot of these transfers are you got to wait until the Euros are over for a lot of these players. So I think that's part of the issue. But another one, it's rumored they're going to go ahead and pay the release clause for Joshua Zirkzee. So I think that's another good move. Look, you get a strike partnership of him and Højlund. Just you don't have to worry about that position, I think is the goal.
But here's my thing. You spend a ton of money for Højlund, right? I think Manchester United should focus defensive first. I think there's a huge problem all over. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think Todibo would be say they obviously Manchester United said they don't have a lot of money to work with. I think they probably have anywhere between 70 to 100 million to work with. I think what they meant by that is we don't have the free money
Right.
just rain
I
down
think,
as Manchester United like people would think,
I
right?
think
Because
the
one of the
number,
richest clubs in the world.
I think the number I saw, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's official or not. Was 140, but
Right.
again, that's not 70 million. That's half of that on one player. It's
It's
stupid.
not a lot for Manchester United standards. Like Manchester City, if they wanted, could spend that on 1.5 players.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for Manchester United, my thing was Todibo would be a great start to it because I think Lisandro Martinez is always injured. I think he would be a great pairing with him, but you can't count on Lisandro Martinez playing a full year.
And that's why I really would like to see Todibo and Braithwaite. If it's my opinion, Braithwaite's left-footed, Todibo's right-footed. You can play Todibo and Martinez as your perfect pairing, which might not always happen. We saw how many injuries we had this year. So then you bring in a Braithwaite who's still a left-footed center back, can play out of the back. I think that they could still complement each other well. So I think if you bring in those two center backs and you bring in Xerxes and a striker, I think you still need one center midfielder at least.
I think
at
with
least.
Kobe Mainu, you need another. I wouldn't say veteran because we know how that worked out with Casemiro. Just a like an Onana from Everton, someone who's been there who could perform well.
As much as I would, I'm not really a huge fan. Even like a Rabiot, coming out.
I'm a huge fan of Rabiot. That would be a great pairing. I think he's a phenomenal. I think he's underrated in my opinion.
His
Look what
issue
he does in the Euros.
His issue is gonna be for United his wages.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's been a thing. But he knows if he wants to leave Juventus, that has to come down.
Right.
I think Manchester United, if you're gonna pick one player from one position, and you have 140 million in the bank, and the average spend on that is about 40 million. Mm-hmm. You could pick 4 players. You have to have another center back. You have to get another holding midfielder. You desperately need a winger. And I think you have to try to get Frimpong if he's available. I just do.
I like Frimpong a lot. I'd love to get so there's
play for the Netherlands.
There's the other rumor is that United are looking to dump off Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof maybe to Everton in exchange for Braithwaite.
Bro, you got to dump off like 60 players.
Well, and there's the other thing. You get 140 million. You're probably going to get somewhere between 30 and 40, I would think. Maybe 30 on the low end each for Sancho and Greenwood. Yeah. That's just going to...
Okay, hold on. I know this is off topic because it's not in our plans. But real quick. Sancho, why not give him another shot? Especially how he did at Dortmund. It's a Ten Hag Sancho thing?
I think so. It's and that's we spoke on it earlier, and I think this should be the last thing before we kind of get into some city transfers. But
yeah,
we spoke on it earlier. Discipline.
True.
Not
True.
It's so easy, and I think this was the problem at United for a while for players to think no one person is bigger than the club, whether it be manager or a player. But if you're gonna pick one, you're gonna side with the manager who's got 25 other players over just you. I would love to see Sancho get another chance. I think it helps us out in that department with another very talented winger.
Yeah.
But if him and Ten Hag can't make amends, it doesn't need to be public at this point. I think the season's over. You can do it behind closed doors. Figure it out. I'd love to see him get another shot. But if that doesn't work, see ya.
Go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the Manchester City news. Let me give you my opinion on that. I don't think we need much. I really don't. I think I've been a little all over the place with what I think we need. I keep saying we might need another center back, but the truth is we don't. Mm-hmm. We have some of the best defenders in the world depth-wise. I'm not saying we have the best defender in the world.
Agreed.
I'm not saying we have a top 3 defender in the world. I'm just saying depth-wise.
And that core.
Overall, yes, just the core.
Yeah, it's so
just
strong.
The best in the world.
Yeah.
So Gvardiol is at top. I think Ruben Diaz is a top defender. I think he had an off year. I think John Stones is a great defender.
Ake is good. Yeah.
Kaji is amazing.
Yeah.
Walker obviously plays center back. So I don't think we need another defender. I would love another holding midfielder like Bruno Guimaraes. Would be great for us because as much as I love Kovacic, we know that a center back goes into the holding mid role like a Kanji, right? That's how he wants to play usually. That Kovacic going playing in that role usually goes forward, right? And Rodri becomes the sole holding midfielder.
Right.
So for me, I would like either Bernardo Silva to play more there, leaving Foden in the 10, because Savio is going to be an amazing player. You saw him in Brazil. He came on a little bit. He looks spicy. He looks good. He goes at players. He's just like he's just a better future potential Rafinha to me. He just is.
Yeah.
Doku obviously is going to be amazing. I've been so critical on Doku. I think he has the potential to be a superstar. I'll admit that. I just sometimes, to me, he's very average. He does the same stuff. But at the end of the year, man, and seeing him in this Euros, he's just so good. He's like a worse Robin to me. I mean, he does the same moves every time, but somehow he gets out of the pocket. He scores goals. He gets involved, and it's amazing. And obviously, Haaland starting. I don't think we need much. I think Bernardo Silva can go into that role and play that holding to box-to-box midfield, because he's not a winger to me. He's not a winger to me anymore. I think he played that role well for a couple years, but we need wingers.
Yeah.
And I think we need to give Jack Grealish one more year. Obviously, if Savio or Jack Grealish isn't playing well, Foden can go out there. Bernardo Silva go out there. The only position I want is a holding midfielder, and that's all we need. Unless Kevin De Bruyne leaves. If I think we need an offensive midfielder, and I'm not talking about any offensive midfielder. I'm talking about a star offensive midfielder if Kevin De Bruyne might leave. But besides that, it's just a holding midfielder for me.
Yeah, and I real quick, I gotta come in with Savio, man, because I do think he could be really good. But man, watching that Brazil game, the only thing I could think, seriously, and you're gonna think I'm crazy, was, oh my God, this guy is just like Antony. Brother does not use his right foot at all. Not a single time. And that could be. Look at how good Antony was at Ajax. Comes in, can't use his right foot, and this guy's a bomb.
But here's the thing with Savio, though, and I've watched many games of this year ever since he's pretty much been a City player since the beginning of the year. We all knew he was going to City. He's even said City is his goal and his only goal.
Right.
Linking him to City, obviously. But my thing is, Mahrez was the same type of player. He's
true.
like a Mahrez to me. Mahrez didn't use his right. He always went to his left. But you see Savio in games go to his right foot. Obviously, he cuts, I get, but I just think comparing him to Antony is a little blasphemy to me.
You've definitely watched more of him than I have, but I just know that Copa America game, this guy came on, and I was like, what is this guy? Like, he would have so much space. He has a perfect ball in with his right foot.
Antony doesn't go at players. I mean,
that's true.
He did in the Eredivisie, but
that's
Savio
true.
Takes people on.
That's true. I just saw so many times he could have put the ball in the box with his right foot, and instead he's cutting it back, and I was like, brother,
I agree. But we'll see how he does with the discipline of a coach like Pep.
Yeah. And I think, we can kind of transition. Obviously, we're talking a little bit about Copa America. It's the big topic. Let's get into the Euros. Let's get into Gareth Bumgate.
Dude, Gareth Bumgate is a bum. He's a straight bum. He doesn't know what he's doing. He lacks the IQ. I think a squirrel could do better than what he's doing. I just think, like we were talking about off this podcast, why aren't you playing the EPL Player of the Year in his rightful role? What he's done all year. You get what I'm saying? Foden should be playing the number 10.
Yeah.
Saka is the most overrated player. I wouldn't say ever, but he is. Cole Palmer was
the young player of the year.
Foden. Yes, hand in hand with Foden for EPL Player of the Year. He comes in, he does actually something, looks like he wants the ball, looks lively, going at players, getting involved. He should be starting on the right wing.
I think the biggest, obviously in the second match for England, no changes. And I was like, all right, you're just a bum.
Yeah.
Third match, one change, Alexander-Arnold for Conor Gallagher. And I
didn't understand that.
I don't have anything against Conor Gallagher. But to me, when you've got Foden still playing out of position, you've got Palmer on the bench. I mean, this is obviously gonna sound biased, but when Mainu came on the field, he just looked so comfortable. And I saw it so much this season. I think a lot of people saw it so much this season. When he comes on the field for United, he's just calm. And he just looks he doesn't look like an 18-year-old. Not saying he should start, because I don't think he should. I still think the midfield three should be Rice at the 6, Bellingham at the 8, Foden at the 10. I don't think Manu should start. But if you're going to bring on Conor Gallagher, I think Manu should be starting over him. And that's just my honest opinion.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think Kobe Manu, you've heard when he played for England in a friendly before the Euros, how many people praised him. Now, I wouldn't start Kobe Manu like you just said. I would have Bellingham at the 8.
I think he's
Foden at the 10.
I think he's still just because of how talented this England squad is. He's a little behind in the pecking order, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I mean, look at Lamine Yamal, man. I don't care what age you are. If you're the best player, you should start.
Right.
I think Saka starts over Cole Palmer because Saka's playing for Arsenal and how they did in the league. I don't think Saka is better than Cole Palmer. It should be the best player starting and the best players playing that position.
And we touched on this, and last week we talked about if Southgate's whole thing this year was to bring in form players. We talked about no Grealish, we talked about no Rashford, and now it kind of looks like they're suffering on that left side. It just doesn't seem like.
Why not put Anthony Gordon there, who had a good year?
And it's the same thing. We're talking about where do you draw the line between what good form is and what favoritism is?
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think I don't know. There could be a thing where like if he doesn't start Saka, he's gonna catch a lot of flack for it. I don't know.
Well, then, like Ian Rice said, put Saka at left back then.
Which I mean, I saw some Chelsea fans talking about that. Imagine your club legend saying your club's best players should be played at another position so your rival can start there.
But that's where he started at Arsenal.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. But like I don't know, it's just funny. Imagine like telling Gareth Bale like he has to play imagine telling Gareth Bale he's got to play left. This is the one I saw. It said imagine the same thing telling Gareth Bale he had to play left back for Wales because of Daniel James. And I was just like, dude, that's so funny. But no, I mean, if you want to start Saka so bad, start him at left back. Like I think now it's too late. I think you needed that third game to really change things up and get something different, because knockout football is a whole different beast.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to start Kyle Walker at right back, obviously. But if you want someone to drift into the midfield, and as you go up the field, Jude Bellingham be that 8. He goes up the field with Foden.
Which he should be. I think he struggles in the 10.
Right, and put Trent Alexander-Arnold at left back and let him drift into the midfield and stop starting him at holding mid when it should be Declan Rice and Bellingham. It's like so simple, man. And what's funny to me is these managers, not just Southgate, but managers that are coaching professionally, making millions of dollars, millions of euros, millions of pounds, are making this kind of money when people like you and me who make no money off of this could do probably a better job organizing this team.
It's not just Southgate. I've seen it countless other times with countless other coaches. I don't understand why certain decisions are made.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. It's blasphemy.
It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Like I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. Well, I think that's wraps up Who Owns Manchester. Unless you have anything else you want to say before we wrap up.
No, I think we're good. I'm
done talking about Bumgate. That's it for Who Owns Manchester. Matt, my co-host, is an awesome, sucky Manchester United fan. But that's it for Who Owns Manchester, brought to you by the Sky Blues. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't, you're a Tottenham fan. Have a good one.